Okay, today is February 24th, 2023. We are interviewing Sylvia Steinberg. My name is Susan Kendall and we are in Toronto, Canada. Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, how are you?
Good. If you want to tell us where you were born and what year and date.
I was born in Bucharest, Romania, May 28, 1936, just about 3 years before the war started. And my mother was a homemaker, my father was a pharmacist, and he had his own pharmacy together with his brother in Bucharest. And the earliest memory I have about the war, it was when I was about 5.5, when in the house we lived, we had a cold cellar. And one night, I was scared. My mother said, "You have to get out of your bed, we have to go down in the cellar." So we went there, cold. It was January the 21st, 1941. I had no idea what was happening, but I understand we had a program. In the beginning, the government allied with Nazis. In the beginning. So we went down in the cellar. Not long, people who were looking for Jewish people found us there. And this man went downstairs on the steps. And I was down looking up at him, and all what I saw was a big gun. And he says, "Get out or I shoot." That was my first encounter.
Who was down there with you?
My mother and my father. We went upstairs. I don't know where my father disappeared. My mother and me, we went and hid ourselves under the stairs because the house had an upstairs, so we went under the stairs. Later on, I saw my father, and I was happy to see him. I understood later that he gave them a very expensive medication, which was at that time new, was penicillin, which was discovered 2 years before in England, and he already had it. So for time being, he saved his life. That night, my mother's sister's husband, my uncle, was taken out from his house. And at the end of the city was a woods. They were woods. These woods were called Jilava, and he was shot there. And somehow I saw these pictures years later in TV. Somebody was there to take it. And I saw all these bodies on the white snow. He was 38 years old. My mother's sister, who lost this man, her husband, she was the one who helped my grandparents to raise me. And I have her picture here.
Okay, we'll do that after.
You tell me.
Okay. Yeah. Do you remember what life was like before all of this began for you?
I was very comfortable with my parents. We had a house. I was like any other child playing. I was a very active child, very active. And constant in motion. a lot of gymnastics, a lot of, people would say if you want to look for me, they have to look up in a tree. So I was happy. I was a happy child.
Do you celebrate traditional Jewish?
We did that with my grandparents. In other words, not in our house. We went to my mother's, parents to do that. My grandfather was a very religious man, very religious. And they were from the north part of Romania, very close to Poland. Very close to Poland, in a city called Iași. That was my first encounter at 5.5 years old. Then later on, we had to move. I understand that they took the houses where Jewish people lived in their own houses. They took these houses, and we had to move out, renting an apartment. And I was there with them, and I think I was about almost 7. My father was also a very talented man. He went to Conservatory of Music, playing violin, and also painting. So he was interested to see if I can do that. So at the age of 4, we were still in our old home. He introduced me to colors. I was the one who also knew how to write the alphabet. He started with me when I was 4. And anyway, I wound up being an artist as a profession. Illustrator. And when I was about 7, almost 7, I knew that my father had to go. He didn't know where. He was away for about a month. And
You were in the apartment?
We were in the apartment already. He had to go, and he went. He was sent to a place called Transnistria today, I think it's in Ukraine.
Do you remember?
I remember.
How you left, or were you sad, or?
I was very sad because I was saying, "Where is my father?" He went there for a month. I was happy to see him back. He had to dig trenches, and I understand he was digging his own grave. But they sent back the professionals, doctors and pharmacists. They were thinking, we will need them in the war. Somehow these people came back. But when my father came back, I saw that he's different. He lost his luster. He lost his... He was a different person. He became depressed. And one morning, I got up with my mom, and my mom the night before said, he has something to do in the other room. He will be busy, he has something to write, so let's go to bed. The next morning, it was 8 o'clock in the morning, I got up from my bed, my mother got up. I said, he was supposed to leave, he had to go somewhere. So we both went to the other room, and the door was locked from inside. My mother became very anxious. She just threw the door open, and he was dead in bed. And he had, being a pharmacist, I remember in the corner there was a plate with a piece of chocolate cake, and I think he put some poison in it. And that's how I think he did it. Because as a pharmacist, you can find poison. My mother started to jump over here. I was so frightened. I say from that moment that my life turned totally upside down. The family came, it was a funeral. I was not allowed to go to the funeral. Someone stayed with me. And the life continued, my mother and I, in that apartment. But I didn't feel right. I was missing my father. But something else happened. She was not right. She acted very strange. And someone told me that I have to move with my grandparents.
How old were you?
I was 7. And that September, it would have been my first grade, going to first grade. In a Jewish school where my grandfather took me, and I was supposed to start learning Hebrew. My mother, 8 days after his death, after the funeral, 8 days, my mother was taken away by the family after she was diagnosed with schizophrenia and something else. Anyway, she wound up in a mental hospital. She was in that hospital for 8 years until she died. I stayed with my grandfather and my grandmother, but life is not the same. I just want to tell all the children, I want to tell everybody, not only the children, that a life without parents, it's not a life. It's like you are on a stage acting like. It's not real. You have to have a mother and father in order to live a normal life. And I just couldn't. I had fears. I felt like somebody has to take care of me, like a parent taking care. I felt like I had to think ahead. What's going to happen with me here and there? I became my own mother and father. My grandmother was not able to understand these things. She was, I don't know if she had 40 years of education. She was extremely religious. All what she knew is that I have to have a warm bed and a meal. But you don't need only that in life. It was very hard for me.
Did you go to school?
This was the first year at Hebrew school my grandfather took me. The next year, all the Hebrew schools were closed. They closed up all the Hebrew schools. So I was supposed to go to a regular school. But my grandfather decided to put me in a Catholic school.
Do you know why?
Yeah, I would have been safer there in the Catholic school. And I had to wear the cross. And we had to go to the chapel and knee. The only thing I didn't do the cross with my hands. I didn't ask for it. My teachers were nuns, and I didn't come home. It was a parochial school. I didn't come home, and that was their purpose, not to come home.
Did they know you were Jewish?
Yes, and there were another couple girls, Jewish girls in my class.
Did you change your name?
No, I didn't change my name. But I remember traumatic was for me when I went home to my grandmother, and it was summer, and I had all of us, I was 8 already, 8. I was over my head, I heard a noise very heavy, and when I looked up, I saw this plane with a swastika on the bottom, on the belly of the plane, right over my head. And then I saw them there, and then I see bombs going down, coming, bombs falling from those planes. And I ran to my grandmother, and I was shaking. And my mother said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the siren." It must have been a siren or something that to let you know to go in a shelter. And then I remember we went to shelters.
Where was the shelter?
The shelter was on the street where we lived, across the street, where my grandfather had a factory. And he had a lot of people coming to his factory from the neighborhood, because the factory was made by solid concrete. And in the basement he had the shelter, that's what it's called, no? Shelter. A lot of people went there.
How long did you stay there?
I stayed there a couple of days.
Was there food? Water?
Was the food, water, was people were out and across, it was a big area, and my grandfather had a kitchen for the people who worked for him. And in that kitchen, they had some food there. He had a kitchen for these people who worked for him. He had, like, during the day, these people were taking off like for lunch. And he let them go out for them. He had somebody cooking there. And people go out and they have lunch. I mean, not everybody does this for the employees, but he did. And that was my school until the war was over, and I was there till I was almost 10. And during the bombardment, we were going out to see which house is standing and which house is not. And the smell, that awfully smell that you can smell when you come out from the shelter. And always running out on the street to see if our house across the street is still standing. And it's all the emotion and everything. A lot of emotion. They try, my grandmother and my aunt tried, I had her here, they tried to take me to the hospital. And that was very traumatic for me, because I went there with them, and my mother didn't let me leave the hospital. And one time, 2 times, and then they said to them, the nurses, don't bring her here anymore. I couldn't take that. I said, I had to see my mother. But I couldn't go, because the last time I went there, she stormed the whole hospital. She ran up to the big gate, and she wanted to get out. I miss my mother all this life. So when I was 15 years old, she died. Then I met my husband. He was a very good man when I was 18.
Did you go to school in between?
I went to art school when I was 15. Just the year my mother died. And I finished the art school. I was supposed to go into the art institute, top 10, without a exam. But I couldn't, because I had to work. So I started working. And it was not easy to get in there, but I did. It was the only cinematographic company who did cartoon animation. So I learned cartoon animation while I was working, and I loved it. That was something that I really finally enjoyed. So when I married my husband, I moved in with his parents.
Where'd you meet him?
There. And I met him right there in Bucharest. I didn't date him. My aunt arranged something. She and his mom. She knew his mom. But then it turned out that he was a very good man. So like in real religion say, you learn to love. And I was happy. He was very kind. He never knew what to say. He never know what to say no. He never had enemies. He was very, how you call it, humble. And
Where did you live?
1962. But it was not easy, because when my company, which was actually run by the government, this studio, when they found out, I was fired.
When they found out?
That they from the police department, they let my company know that I want to leave the country. We arranged to leave the country. We signed papers to leave the country one night.
Why did you want to leave the country?
Because the communists came after the war.
And what was that like?
No food. And they taking your space where you live, and they measure it. And if you have 2 or 3 meters more in your apartment, they bring another family to live with you.
So did that happen to you?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. It came in the apartment where when my father-in-law, my mother-in-law lived. There is another couple came, and he he had a big, big position at the security. So you can't even talk in your own apartment. So we decided to leave, and we went one night to the police department, and we didn't even know you can do that. It's from mouth, how you call this, just by hearing from other people that you can do that. So we did. But as a result, I was fired. And my husband was fired. He was working for the Ministry of Agriculture. He was he measured. He was a civil engineer. So we left. While we were waiting to get approval to leave the country, we had no job. There is not such a thing like unemployment. So what we did, we went to people, and they want to sell things. We went out on Sunday and put them on the floor and they were an empty area out of the city, a little bit out, and we put them on floor. And if the people are coming, and whatever we had extra, that was what we earn. It's like you don't even know what's going to be next week, and next week, and next week. So this is like 3 years we stayed like this. 3 years. From 1968 till 1958 till 62. We stayed like this. From week to week. We didn't know what's going to be next week. Meantime, during the week, we were accumulating things. Some people were receiving packages, and they couldn't go out to sell them. Packages from friends from the West. So we took them, we sold them, whatever we took extra, that was our income.
And who did you sell it to?
People were coming at those places and looked down and looked and saw something that they liked, and it was all cash. It's nothing, it's all cash. This is how we lived for 3 years until we finally left. To leave, you have to buy airline tickets. We didn't have money for airline tickets. So whatever we had in that room that we had, we sold everything to be able to buy airline tickets. So we left with just 2 suitcases, including this.
And why did you choose that heavy candlesticks to bring?
I just had to bring them. We didn't have too many things anyway. We didn't have too many things. And when we went there, on the train platform, there were people who were looking, and they start asking us in Yiddish. My husband knew how to speak, and they said, "We are from Hayas." Hayas is a Jewish organization, maybe you know. If you know what it is, I don't have to tell you. You probably know. They put us in a hotel, but we couldn't stay there long because I had to cook something. They didn't let you cook. So we had to look through in the streets of Paris until we found a young couple, who let us cook in our room. So we bought some cheap pots, couple pots and pans. And we cook in a room. We got one coupon to eat in a cantina during the day. And this is a Jewish organization. I don't know what Hayas is. I can't remember what HAIS is. HAIS, Hayas. That's an organization where helping people coming out from the east, coming and help us settle. We didn't know where we were going to go. We stayed in Paris for 9 months without knowing where you're going to go. This is like you live in a limbo. And what else can I say? All what I can say is that as a child, losing the parents is very traumatic, and then you suffer for the rest of your life. There is no other way.
Did you leave your grandparents? They didn't come with you?
My grandparents died.
Oh.
My both grandparents died before I was married. The year my grandmother died, that's the year I met my husband through my mother's sister, who lost her husband in that night in the program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
And I was the only child.
So, and then you got from Paris, where did you go?
We went to Baltimore, Maryland.
Where?
Baltimore, Maryland.
How did you get there?
We just have to cross the ocean.
So,
Plane,
on an airplane?
on an airplane. Who was actually not a big plane, who had only propellers over the ocean. One propeller died. And they told us. But we got to New York. We saw English we didn't understand. And then my husband had a dictionary. He said, let me see what this is. Oh, that means you can go out this way, exit. This is how much English we knew.
How old were you?
26. I was 26. I was young. And then I had traumatic. I had lost 3 children, 3 babies. My daughter is the 4th one, finally. She's very special to me. And I think I speak too low. Nobody hears me here.
And so you were in New York, and then what happened?
And the same day, it was another plane who took us to Baltimore. The same day.
And these were funded?
And they were funded by the Associated Jewish Charities. And there was a lady over there who knew we coming. First, they told us in Paris that we're going to America. And we're going to Baltimore. And I said, where is Baltimore? And they show us a map. And then I saw where. Nice city, very nice Jewish community. Very, very nice Jewish community. And I remember we had a trunk that we made it with clothes, who came after we got to Baltimore, because it was on a boat or something. And I didn't have, actually, when we left Paris, the trunk left after us. So we didn't have any clothes. So we had people who donated us a coat, something warm, because we from Paris we left in Paris in August, and the trunk came in January. So meantime we didn't have anything to wear. So there were people who donated. And if you want to ask me questions,
Well, how did you live? What did you do?
in 2 weeks, I got a job in a studio. And I had to give an examination. And they hired me immediately. It was a studio, and they were doing also animation, and they were doing advertising. And I stayed, and I liked what I did. For 39 years, never went to any other jobs, never
In New York?
in Baltimore.
Oh,
We left New York, we went to Baltimore. We rented. Our rent was $65 a month. $65 a month.
do you remember what the house looked like?
It was upstairs, where downstairs was an older lady who rented upstairs, couple rooms. And of course, transportation with buses. That's okay. Who wants a car? You don't have money for a car. We went once a week to do laundry, and we had a cart. We went to laundry. The next door to the laundry was a market, so we did both things in the same time. And we walked, so we did a lot of walking. And in Baltimore, my daughter was born after I had problems, after I lost. And then I was happy that she went to a good school and put herself in a private school and put herself at Harvard in Boston. That's where she met her husband. My son-in-law is from Montreal. And that's why I'm here. Because my husband died in Baltimore. And I'm here. Next year will be 20 years. I don't know where the time went. So I don't know how you see this story.
Did they know that you were a survivor?
Those times they didn't talk about survivors. The people who were talking about survivors were people here in Toronto. They didn't talk in Baltimore about survivors. Everybody knew about the war and what happened. But about survivors and organizations and everything, it's Circle of Care. It's here. And I heard about Circle of Care at Bakerest. And my daughter was there for a year as an internship because she's a she's a psychiatrist. She's a doctor. So from there, from nurse there, I heard about Circle of Care, and I get meals from them. and the free transportation to the doctors. And it's a big help for me.
And what do you think about what's happening in the world now with anti-Semitism? How does it make
It's terrible. Some people don't even believe in this. Some people don't believe. What kind of people are this? I cannot call them intelligent or smart. I think it's the way they were brought at home. I think everything comes from home. First. I think so. Or they don't read enough.
Did you tell your daughter and your grandchildren about your
I think they know more than I know. With today's computers and the telephones, I don't have a computer, I don't have a phone. I don't care. I'm living my life, and I wanted the less, the better. And I feel more comfortable. But I don't have to worry about them. Look at my oldest one they're talking about. Holocaust. And she wants to do something. She wrote a paper that was published. I didn't know. Yeah, she just finished a master at King's University in London. The one who was here talking with you. I don't want anything more. What I miss is the life with my parents. That's what I miss. I miss the life with my parents. And I think children should realize, but they don't realize because they're children. This is another thing. How can you make a child understand how important it's to have a parent? No. Sometimes their friends are more important than their parents. That's the way life is. Because this is what happened with me.
And when you were in school, when you were a child, do you remember any anti-Semitic conversations?
Yes, I do. I do. When I was in a Catholic school, there were girls who came to me in the class and says, Jew, Jew, Jew. I want to talk to you.
And what did the nuns do?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes they were there, sometimes they're not there. Yeah, I remember that. They came to me and they said, Jew, what are you doing here? And in a way, she was right, what I was doing there, because that was her religion, her school. Yeah, I remember that. That's what I had.
And then when you moved to the United States?
No. When I moved to the United States, no. My boss was Jewish. His sons took over. And it was totally different life. I never encountered something like this in America. No.
And did you ever go back?
I went back to see my aunt, who later on emigrated to Israel. And then I had nobody, because my parents are buried there, and my both grandparents from both sides, they're buried there. So when I went a couple times to see my aunt, I went with her to the cemeteries over there. And my daughter is trying to see if we can bring my husband here from Baltimore. She talked with the rabbi already. It's expensive, but she would like to do that. It's possible because we all here. Actually, we bought a place for him here, in case.
Do you have any other memories or anything from when you were a child that you want to tell us?
Memories. Maybe I should have wrote down, I don't know. There's so many. I can forget the bombardments. I just can't forget the bombardments. Do you know that today, if I hear a plane, or I can even, or if a movie there are movies with Nazis, I can take it. I can see it. And if it's a plane which is a little bit louder, I just put my hands over my ears. I can't. I don't know, you call this a trauma?
It's trauma.
And I had also cancer, but I'm also cancer survivor. I'm a survivor. When it rains, it pours. Yeah. So, I don't know. I thought I would tell you this story. And of course I was not in Auschwitz I was in Bucharest. My husband told me when he was 15 years old, he was put in a death train up north, and a young Romanian soldier pulled him out and said to him, "Run." And he ran, and he went in the cold cellar. And he ate, for 3 weeks, he ate raw cucumbers. Because that place where he was close to Poland. And there were trains that were taking Jewish people to different camps. Bucharest is south. It's a little bit further than the north. That made a little difference. But the Bucharest had pogroms.
Okay. Do you want to show us the photos?
Just a couple photos. Just a couple photos. I don't want to take her out from here because I won't be able to put her back. This is my mother's sister who helped my grandparents raised me. She was widow at the age of 30 when her husband was killed. He was 38. This is my mom, an old picture. This is my mom. This is my grandparents from my mother's side, the one that I stayed with. And this is my grandparents from my father's side. His mom and father, my father's parents.
Oh, hold it up.
Both of them. The other one too.
That.
And this is my father. This actually has his original signature in ink. See how my hand tremble? I don't feel good now because I'm talking about those things.
Thank you so much
For what?
for telling us your story.
Yeah, but their story is much more. Their story is much more hard. I mean, hard to hear. How much more? How can I say? Their stories that they're so grave. They're so. You hear so many stories. How do you think my story is? It's I was not in Auschwitz. I didn't lost so many people. So I lost them because most of them died of old age, or except my father and my mother as a consequence. But other than that, how can I complain? I'm not a complainer. It's not complaining. It's just things that happened, and
It's your story.
it's a story.
And it's your story, and it's something that we all need to know about, and remember, and understand, and respect.
It's not a happy story. What I suffer a lot is that when they told me I couldn't see my mother.
Right.
Something like it's something like here.
Right. And I wonder in today's day and age, what they would have done.
How do you do that?
Because she probably would not have been hospitalized.
She wouldn't have been hospitalized. But when you talk to her, she would look at you, and she would not answer what you tell her. No. Her mind was gone. I think when she jumped on him when he was dead, and I see him exactly the way he was with his hands here, and the eyes have opened. Maybe she had a shock when she was jumping on him. 8 days took until she completely changed upside down. And the family told me, you cannot live with your mom anymore.
Right. Terrible. Do you want to read? Yeah, I think. I just think nowadays